Hello, welcome to the Q. We're going to look at the progression of fuel gauge markers. Originally, you just kind of guessed and tried to remember where your planes came from, and then you would count them back. Sometimes, in a bigger engagements, you might lose track of what went where, and most people it was okay, but some people, they really wanted to know where everything came from. So we started using dice, and what we did is we were using these small dice. They are much smaller. Oh, that one's not even on the screen. Much smaller, you can see there, maybe half the size. So you knew, and you could get them into the battle zones a lot easier. You can mark your dice. The bomber has 5 movements left. These tacticals and fighters up here have 3. Very simple, straightforward way to keep track of all your planes movements after the combat. And the small dice don't take up a ton of room, so it worked out nicely. And we did that for years. And then HBG came out with some fuel gauge markers, and they were pretty cool, so I got some of those. The downside was the backs have nothing. So when they're laying in the box or the tray like that, you got to flip over to find your numbers or try and keep them all flipped over, which, was somewhat of a slight issue, but, that now they lay there a little flat, kind of yellow. They stand out a little better than the dice. But what we did next, we took the ones and, well, actually all the numbers, but glued them back to back. So now you can easily see whether they're laying in the box or flipped over, what all the markers were. So now you don't need the dice, but we can use the dice for rolling, so that's no big deal. But then a unique thing, because these were out for a couple years, and then a unique event happened at the BBR 4 in Atlanta last fall, and it was an actual dice that had, it was a yellow blank dice, and Sired Blood had made some stickers and put the fuel gauge numbers on each side of the dice. So now you don't need 1 through 6 in these little markers, you just need one dice. And those were pretty cool, but they were just kind of like a mock-up to see what the interest level would be, which it turned out that the interest level was pretty good. 4 or 5 months later, Combat Miniatures came out with these white dice, and then you have to put the stickers on there. And, that's kind of okay. And I do like having the different colors. Maybe, if you were trying to keep the dice, maybe you're going to use the white dice for bombers, or in Global 36, the air transport planes, and keep the other planes the yellow. You could go that route. But today, a friendly box showed up, and from HBG, and they have come out with the printed version of what we used at BBR 4 last year in Atlanta, and that is simply a work of art. So now we've got all our dice. We can retire the little dice, just use them for rolling. We can probably retire the little acrylics and just keep the dice going. I'll have a yellow and then a white, and we'll move on from there. But that is kind of how that has progressed, and kind of excited to see this dice here. Like I said, the one that we played with at the tournament last year, it just had the stickers on each side, which was fine. It worked, but when you got it printed on there and placed on the board, it just looks so much better. So congratulations to HBG for putting this out. Congratulations to Sired Blood for coming up with that idea of doing that on a dice. kind of reducing the amount of markers that you're going to need to play an Axis and Ally type game. So that is how the hit dice. I said that earlier and then I started recording again, but I'm too late in the video now. The fuel gauge markers went from a little teeny dice to a printed fuel marker dice. Thanks for watching and keep rolling dice.